All right, this is the hat that we called Old Spicy. And Old Spicy wants to tell you, I'm coming back. Hello, I'm Christopher Isherwood. I'm a novelist, and I pretty much like to continually remind you, you and I are worlds apart, in that in this physical lifetime I've already passed on, but my works on this planet still remain, famously the Broadway play Cabaret. And I don't really want to tell you too much about what's gone on in the past, because we're really working on what's going to happen in the future. This is Quicksilver, also known as the Messenger, and he just wants to tell you, I guess that's what he does. This hat is a cross. Is it the Red Cross or the flag of Switzerland? At this present time, it only wants to say hello and tell you we're still working on having more cures. Okay. Since 1591, I'm going to go with the country of Switzerland. What else was going on in 1591? 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So, 100 years later, what happened in the 100 years between the time of Columbus's first sail to the New World and 100 years later? The answer is lots more ships came from Europe over to North America, and they also started exploring all over the world. And so on and so forth. What is this important about? It means that if we are going to go someplace new to explore, well, after the first ships go, then what happens? Well, first you have explorers, and then you have immigrants, people who have decided they're going to leave their old place of residence and they're going to go to the newly discovered places if they can. And this was the story of the settlement of... Why are we having trouble? The trouble with words is pretty much we don't really know how to go and explore anywhere other than our house, because we're still pretty much in a quarantine. I mean, people are more and more freeing up, but what does it really mean? It still means we have got severe limits on our freedoms. And as far as that goes, I'm still waiting to get my barber to reopen. He's supposed to open up at the end of this week. I don't know. I keep coming back to me. What do I want? I pretty much want to get back to doing my favorite, karaoke, which means I've got to get back into clubs where they have karaoke and they're all closed still, and there's no announcement that they're going to open them up again. Okay, so what I had to do is I had to turn this hat around, because when I'm looking at it in my screen, it's the mirror image. And it looks to me like 1591, which is what I told you, 100 years past Columbus. But when I turned it around, and I looked at it myself, I see it the way you see it. It says since 1291. So I got the 2 and the 5 mixed up because I was looking at it in a mirror image. What else do we know about mirror images? I don't know. I'm going to continually tell you that I don't know. What else do we know about mirrors? You look in the mirror and everything is kind of mirror imaged. That's all I can tell you. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? Don't know. A man in the street says to you, I have got to get another well-worn horse because my horse is very good, but I need two of them, and I want a well-worn horse. In other words, I want a horse that already knows horse things. So I don't want a young colt. I want a horse who knows how to do horse things, a grown-up horse. And I want a horse pretty much that's like my horse so that they can work together as a team. I'm not working as a team right now because I've got, me, and that's all. So why am I bringing up teamwork? Because you and me have got a lot of work to do. And if we're going to join a team, it means we're going to have to be grown-ups. Okay. Are you grown up yet? I keep waiting for people to grow up. Why? Well, a lot of people are very juvenile. They haven't changed since they were 12 years old. And they might be 55 years old and they still have the mindset of a 12-year-old. Why? I don't know why. I just see it all the time. In other words, they still they used to watch rebel movies at the movies when they were 12 about, the Great Rebellion, and usually it's the kids versus the adults. And then they grow up to be advanced middle age, and they still haven't figured out when they're going to stop living like they're 12 years old. Because a 12-year-old watches movies, but in their real life, are they really ever taking any steps to rebel? Against their parents a little bit. But pretty much they, the baby boomers accepted the world from their parents. And they kept it. What happened to the rebellious hippies? Oh, they all kind of faded off into the background and figured out ways of making lots of money. In other words, they sold out. Why do I keep bringing this up? Because I don't see anyone that I know jumping on my bandwagon and saying, let's get really active and change this thing. This thing being everything. So I'm calling everyone out on their apathy, enormous apathy. It's like a cycle. It's like, you're 12 years old and, you don't like your principal at school. Your parents are chafing your buzz. You find ways to go out and smoke cigarettes in the boys' room at the high school. You find ways to steal your parents' liquor. But in the end, you're always on the coattails of your parents. You're always looking to them. And then when they kick off, you become what? You're an adult body, but you still have the mindset. Why? When are you going to finally stop being a little puppy and drop the leash of control that your parents' generation was using on you. Oh, I'm still wearing my Stargate Research t-shirt. You remember the TV show Stargate? Why? Because I keep doing research. In fact, in more than one episode, I was an extra on Stargate. I think it was Stargate Atlantis. And what has it got to do with today? Well, they made this t-shirt for people like me who want to remind you about what was going on in Stargate. They were using these Stargate portals to go from here to there and have adventures. And one of the big adventures that kept seeming to go on was something called, coming back to that, and I don't know. Why don't I know? Because I keep getting flack about me doing what I want to do. I'm in the middle of doing my project, and then what happens? I get interrupted. I get interrupted by various people. They can see that I'm doing something, and they continuously interrupt me. So, I give them a polite response to a question. I go give them some help. But there's some underlying issue, and it's a lack of respect for me and my purpose. It is basically, I am here to be kicked around, and I don't like it. What is really going on with these people, I know I'm jumping around quite a lot. Please watch more of my videos because I can't explain all of my stuff in one video. It's an ongoing program, and the program is usually what our host Bob Frizzell calls the reality game. But I want to quickly bring it to your attention because if this is happening to you, you're getting pushed off balance by people who are rudely interrupting you, and they're basically wanting to. Okay, I'm going to continue, and I'm going to talk about curses. Most famous curse that I can think of right now is, remember King Tut? He was discovered in Egypt. And somehow they heard that there was a curse. If you interfered with King Tut, his resting body, you're going to drop dead. And you can look up the curse of King Tut. The discoverer of King Tut was an Egyptologist called Howard Carter, and see what happened. Oh, it's Christopher again. And I just want to remind you that when we're talking about Law of One, which is often talked about by a channeler called Bashar, someone else called Ra. It's extraterrestrial metaphysics, but Law of One is essentially you and I are the same. It's also explained in the term Namaste that you hear quite often in India. The spirit in me recognizes the spirit in you. The God in me recognizes the God in you. In essence, what you're trying to tell other people is, I see you, you look different on the outside, but inside we are consciousness, and we share consciousness, and that's basically the link that you are and I are. Are you making the jump that, we're the same thing? You're going to say, it's just like a phone. We're using a communication device. Please stay tuned. I have more for you. My supernatural hat is what I'm going to start with on the next video. Thank you for watching.